Hey, what's up, guys? It's T-Bone here. Welcome back to another episode of playing Legendary Game of Heroes. So, in today's episode, it's going to be a combination of both gameplay as well as just a deck review, preview. Since I don't have any of the cards just yet, I can't really review them, but I can go through the similar preview style that I've gone in my previous videos, and I'm gonna talk about my how I feel about them, where I think it's at, and then we'll go in and talk about some of the changes that they've made in this particular event, because I think these are some significant changes, and I do want to talk about those. So first, let's talk about the cards themselves. Okay, so just like in any other events, we have these collections, and we'll talk about the event card and the ultra rare card, and we'll talk about what they can be like. So Elastrin is your free card that you can get at 6 stars. She'll increase the ancient intensity by 10, and then for every stack of ancient intensity, moderately increases the drop rate of earth gems for 1 turn. So this is already looking a lot like the previous light commander event. If you change this with Beeman, it's exactly the same thing. And then you look at the event card, Ballora the Beholder, which is it's an ancient, by the way, it's an ancient earth card. So you can use ancient relics to power up the deck. The battle skill here will destroy 6 non-earth gems, plus 2 additional gems for every 40. This is at 5 stars, so let's take a look actually at the 6-star version and talk about the stats there. So at 6 stars, it's going to destroy 8 non-earth gems, plus 3 additional for every 40 intensity, ancient intensity. And the new thing here is it will activate twice if it's under 100%, and then 3 times if under 50% health. So generally, because the commander bosses always attack after turn 1, you're almost guaranteed to always be activating twice. So that means without any intensity, you are going to be able to destroy at least 16 non-earth gems, which is half the board. So that's not bad. So that's why for me, I kind of feel that this is not a bad card. It's just that I really dislike the idea of introducing intensity for things like a gem destroyer. I mean, if you think about the previous cards that have the same property of destroying gems, it can just destroy all the non-affinity cards. It doesn't matter if there's any intensity involved. And same thing with, let's go back to the collection here. And same thing with the Gem Rainer. The old ones automatically has it greatly increases the chances of dropping the cards. Whereas I've seen and observed that with these ancient intensity or intensity-based cards, they don't actually have very good drop rates, even at very high intensity. So just having those 2 cards being separated is not a great thing. Okay, and then if you look at Matcha, which is the ultra rare card, she will actually create 1 Earth Power Gem 2 at 5 stars, and then an additional Earth Power Gem 2 for every 10 Earth Gems on the board. This is pretty much like the Golden Warrior from the previous event, except at 6 stars. She'll continue to spawn Earth Gem 2s, but then the requirement goes down to 5 Earth Gems instead of 10. So you can see here at 5 stars, this card is not very good at all. It can create a maximum of 4 Power Gem 2s, which is really nothing for damage. And once it goes up to 6 stars, then you'll be able to create 8. So that'll be good, right? And I think that if you have 2 of these ultra rare cards, then you'll be able to create up to 16 Power Gem 2s. That's really when you're going to be able to deal the kind of damage you need for a very high level boss. And if you look at the ultra rare, this is sort of a break in their tradition because this is a legend card. So all of these new legend cards have the same battle skill, and that is it transforms 12 gems to the affinity that it is in, and it does have a pretty high cooldown rate of 7 turns. So this is one of those decks where getting a ultra rare won't give you a boost to your ultra rare, so you're only left with this 1 card that can generate the power gems, and as such it's at best like an A tier deck for me. It's not going to be much different than the Golden Warrior deck, but you might get a little bit benefit because you have a gem spawner in this particular deck. So that's sort of the event cards themselves. If you take a look at the event here, what's different is that they've introduced Vault. And I was really excited at first to see Vault here until I saw the rewards that you can get. These are very minimal items that you can get. Notice that there's no cards, no relics in here, and it's a guild vault. So what does a guild vault mean? I had to kind of really look it up and understand. So if you go into into here, the first thing you'll notice is that the rewards that you get, there is no master vault or anything. There's just a single vault. Everybody in your guild will be extracting items from the same vault, so you're all competing for the resources, and the resources you're getting are these scrolls. For anybody who's new, a scroll is basically a one-time use relic, and the only thing that they do is they will massively they'll reduce the legendary boss defenses based on the based on the type of scroll it is. So if, earth, fire, water, dark, light will go against dark, and the water goes against fire, etc. It goes against the affinity that it's strong against. So why is that needed? Well, because in the event now, they've added additional changes. Number one, all bosses now can go up to level 300. That includes guild bosses. And second, every once in a while, you're going to get these legendary bosses that appear, such as Keda. I saw Aileen earlier from my guild boss. And any of the legend cards can be a boss, and it has really high health, and it has this armor skill that will basically nullify all of your attack unless you have a scroll or if you can deal enough damage. So I personally really dislike this idea, because in a commander event you don't get a lot of keys to begin with, and forcing people to have to waste keys to defeat a boss, and multiple keys at the very minimum, it just feels like it just doesn't make it feel like you're making good progress in that case, because you're losing and spending a lot of keys, and it takes forever for keys to regenerate. And so I think that they need to tweak this idea a little bit. I can understand why they want to do it, but I just don't like it. So now let's talk about the team that I do have. I built a team around Golden Warrior using using Archangel, because she does boost the light attackers. This is the same deck that I showcased last time, and I'm using 2 Indales to boost the damage, but I'm actually running with this deck right now, and that is using Hercules, which also again boosts earth attackers, with Hippolyta that creates a power gem 3. Venera is actually kind of like a panda, in that she'll attack multiple times. But she'll attack multiple times if there are multiple heart gems on board. And then I have Lyra here. She creates earth gems for 3 turns. And then Robin Hood right now, just to deal some sort of area of effect damage. So let's go in and do an attack against Hermes right now. Do I have keys? I do. Okay, so let's go ahead and attack here. This is just sort of the beginning. The boss is still really low level, so there's really not a whole lot to it. But what I do want to talk about is a strategy that I employ for my relic placement, and I'll talk about that right after I complete this boss here. So what I do is I actually put my Rose Spear, which generates a earth power gem on turn 1, as long as there is 8 or more gems in here. And I also put in another relic, which is my glaive, obsidian glaive, that creates a fire power gem as long as there is 8 fire gems on the board. The reason I did that, and I put on the very left, is because you're guaranteed to have 6 of each affinity gems on the board, so you're always going to be guaranteed at least 1 power gem just by having one relic. And so by putting the fire one first, I'll always be guaranteed to have 1 fire power gem, and then with 4 earth gem relics, there's a chance that I could also convert that to green, and then if the 2 green gems line up next to each other, then I can start out with a match, right? So this is because I don't have a lot of power gem creation relics, and so this is just an opportunity to give it a try and play around with it. I could actually replace one of these relics with a second fire relic, but then I run the risk of having too many fire gems and not enough of the greens to really take advantage of that. But that's just something to consider, something to try out. So anyways, that's pretty much that. And then we can talk about let's go. I have some keys too. Let's just go through the map here. So will I invest in a deck? Like I was saying earlier, I just don't imagine it to be something that I would really enjoy. So I don't really plan on it. Let's go ahead and use Dojin here, because he will actually boost all of my Earth heroes. I like Ballora. I do think that the event card Ballora is good. I think the ultra rare, yeah, it does generate multiple power gems, and if you have a good Earth Gem powers sort of a gem spawner deck, then yeah, it can definitely be useful. It's just that it's not worth the gems. They're just so expensive to try and chase after these ultra rare cards and event cards that, I just think that it's not based on sort of the meta of the Slayer deck now. This just feels very lackluster to me. It's a little bit underwhelming, and couple that with the Vault event giving you nothing but scrolls instead of any of the useful, at least in the previous Vault where it really benefited the free to play players. You had you had cards and you had relics and even just regular potions or any of the basic rewards that people got were very useful and beneficial. But this guild vault, number one, you're competing for resources, and number two, it only applies to legendary bosses, and you can't use it for anything else. You can't use it for Slayer events. You can't use it. I just don't see how that is going to be a fun experience for people who generally don't spend a lot for this particular event, right? So I think that is slightly done in a way that could have been a lot better. That's how I'll put it. I'll just leave it at that. I think that there's a lot to be desired for the way they implemented Vault. I definitely am very disappointed with it. So I'm not going to focus on that. I was really excited when we first started, but now I'm just going to focus playing through the maps like I normally do. I will get the scrolls, of course, because I do want to see what it's like. But I hope that in the next event or the next time they introduce Vault, it's going to be something different and not in this format. So that's pretty much for this event, for this episode. Please let me know your feedback. Let me know what your thoughts are for this event deck, this event itself, some of the changes that have taken place, and let's see if there's any if they plan on anything different in the upcoming events. So until next episode, please take care, and I'll see you next time. Take care.